What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you what it's like to drive a 2015 Mercedes S550 at night. So without further ado, let's go ahead and fire it up. Foot on the brake. Just love how those headlights do their little dance when the engine roars into life. That's the adaptive headlight self-check. So putting it into gear is as simple as stepping on the brake and moving the selector on the right hand side of the column down all the way. Starts off in second gear when you're in E mode, which is economy, also known as comfort mode. If you're in sport mode, it will start off in first. This is the 7G Tronic automatic transmission. Let's go ahead and disengage the parking brake, pull the switch, parking brake is off, and we are good to go. So for starters, if you're used to something like a GLC, C-Class, E-Class, or whatever it may be, you might notice that the throttle is mapped a little bit differently in the S550, and that is because the S-Class is aimed more towards driver comfort as well as luxury, whereas when you are driving a C-Class, that's a bit peppier for a reason, because it's not as refined, not as sophisticated as the S-Class, but still very luxurious as you would expect from Mercedes-Benz. As you can see, the high beams are on. This does have adaptive high beam assist plus, if I recall correctly. And let me tell you, they turn on and off seamlessly. It's like you don't even know the high beams are on until you look and see the blue indicator for it. So yeah, as I was saying about the throttle, for those of you who want to drive a little bit faster, you're going to have to put your foot into this one as opposed to your C, E-Class, or GLC, for example. And even the GLE is pretty peppy. I've driven that before. But it's not meant to, you know, the throttle mapping on this car is not meant to be derogatory. It's meant to be like that for comfortability. And in these kinds of cars with the big 4.7 liter V8, I like to keep the RPMs under 2,000 as much as possible, and this is to save on fuel, because it makes plenty of torque at 1,700 RPMs, so it's gonna get up and go. And I like to also just modulate the throttle. So that way I'm always giving it the right amount of gas when it needs it. So as it gets closer to 1,800 RPMs, I put my foot into it a little bit more and then let up, and then it shifts. So kind of like I were in a manual transmission car, except with no clutch, and I'm not shifting it at all. It does have shiny silver paddle shifters if you so choose to shift yourself. But why would you want to? This car is meant to be as comfortable and luxurious as possible. You really don't want to shift for yourself. You don't want to speed, none of that crazy stuff. You know, it's there if you want it, but personally, at least me personally, I just want to enjoy the drive as much as possible in comfort, rather than driving it spiritedly. If I were to drive a car spiritedly, I'd probably get an AMG C63 or something like that. As you can see, it does have Distronic Plus, and what that means is the car has adaptive sensors that detect vehicles that may be in front of you, and when you're getting close to a vehicle, it will slow you down automatically. And this is especially helpful on those long highway journeys across the country. One small detail I'll note is the bottom of the steering wheel says Mercedes-Benz on it in cursive. I don't think the facelifted S-Class of this generation or even the W223 generation has that detail, which is quite sad, but if it does have that detail, I probably just forgot. So, yeah, but if it doesn't have it, then RIP. And I must say, I really like this steering wheel design. 2-spoke, almost minimalistic, if I do say so myself, even though it has the steering wheel controls and the paddle shifters. The wood on it is very nice as well. It's wrapped in half leather, half wood. Not to mention, the W222 S-Class was the first car to have nothing but LED lights inside and out. You will not find a single filament bulb in this car, no matter where you look. And just driving along country roads, you can see that the high beams do a really good job illuminating the road ahead. And I must say, there isn't really a headlight system that can compete with the S-Classes. I mean, I know BMW has like the laser LED headlight system, and Audi and Porsche as well, but unfortunately, laser LED high beams are illegal in the US. So this is pretty much the best you're gonna get, and I'm sure the W223 does an even better job illuminating the road at night with the Adaptive High Beam Assist Plus. But this is still pretty good. I really like that Mercedes-Benz has done a great job of making an S-Class where it won't look outdated with the new S-Class being out, because the W221 looked outdated when this came out in 2013, but yet when the new S-Class came out in 2020, this did not look by any means outdated. Like, sometimes I forget that there's a new S-Class now. And so when I see one, I just have to remember, oh yeah, there's a new S-Class now. Okay, we're coming up on a little bump here. I'm going to slow down for that. And if this had the magic body control, it would use sensors located within the front grille to detect upcoming bumps, such as even speed bumps or even potholes like that. and it would automatically prepare the suspension to soak up that bump, so that way you would not feel a single bit of the impact. However, this example does not have that. It has the regular Airmatic air suspension, still extremely comfortable. Another bump here, just gonna slow down. And although you can do more with the instrument cluster of the facelifted W222 and the W223 generation now, I still really love this instrument cluster. Like, it will never get old to me, even when gasoline-powered cars are no more. And that brings me to my next point. I'm not sure how much longer the S-Class is going to have a V8, because ever since the 2018 S-Class came out, the standard engine was no longer a V8, it was a V6. And now we have the S500 with an I6 or a straight 6, single turbo instead of 2 turbos, and I believe mild hybridization. And then we have the S580, still have mild hybridization, twin turbo, 4-liter, detuned AMG engine, which is an awesome engine, by the way. It's been a while since I've taken a look at the power figures, but I know at least I know the horsepower of this car. I was more concerned about the W223 S580's power. Like, I know horsepower goes up with each new generation, which is awesome, but it just seems like I can't keep up with the changes anymore. And I can't tell if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But then again, the new S-Class is a little pricier, almost overpriced if I do say so myself. Even W222 owners I've talked to agree with that. Because this S-Class, when it was new, I believe it was $95,000 for the V8 and $90,000 for the V6, and then that pushed this one up to like $98,000, $99,000 for the V8. But now, just the base, so the straight 6 S500, that's $105,000 now without any options. So if you wanted to get a V8, that's $120,000 without any options. All right, just making sure it's clear before I proceed onto this 55-mile-per-hour country road. But yeah, enough talking about the differences between the W222 and 223. Let's talk about this car some more. So, interior looks very nice. I love the interior lighting when it's super dark like this outside. And you really can't go wrong with the ride quality of this. I'll just slow down since someone's passing. By the way, just as a public service announcement, if someone's passing you, do not, under any circumstances, increase your speed. If anything, slow down, let them pass, or maintain your current speed, but don't speed up until they've passed you. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people speed up as I was trying to pass them. Super dangerous. But yeah, the throttle mapping as well as the air suspension give this sort of a boat feeling on the road, or someone even described this on the MB World online forums as driving a battleship. I'll take that too. Battleships are pretty awesome. It just makes me wonder what it would be like to drive a Mercedes Maybach S600 or even S550. And that guy, I don't know if you saw him, but he almost pulled out right in front of me and went right through the stop sign. That's insane. Well, good thing he realized his mistake and slammed on the brakes. I do apologize in advance for those screeching noises or whatever you want to describe them as. I don't like them myself. I don't know what the cause is. This isn't my car, so it's not something I have to worry about. But yeah, it's just a minor annoyance. The steering is so smooth and it's very exact, so if you're not used to it, then it just hits you like a truck. Like the difference between the car you were used to and this S550, it will hit you just like that if you're not used to that. This car also does have hot stone massage, so just push this button on the far left in the center console, and then you can toggle down. Function 1 is the hot stone massage function. Just press start, and you can get a massage while you're driving. Also, the passenger seat is equipped with the same technology. So both you and your passenger can get a hot stone massage while you are enjoying your luxury drive in your Mercedes S550. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop that and return to the navigation screen. I've never felt a hot stone massage in my life before this video. I can see why people enjoy them now. Very relaxing. Just what you need to get back in touch with what you're doing, you know, back in shape. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to look for the right words to say, because this driving experience alone is breathtaking, even though it's not exciting or anything. It's not meant to be exciting. It's meant to be Well, it can be exciting, but in a different way than what you're used to if you hear that word when it comes to driving. Because when I hear the word exciting, I think of a Lamborghini going full send on the track. Now, of course, I will be honest, the S-Class is a great car, and as great of a car as it is, things will go wrong, and the more electronic components you have, the more likely you are to run into a problem, and when you do, it will cost a small fortune to fix said problem, or problems if you have more than one at any given time. So if I had to choose between the S550 W222 and the Lamborghini Huracan LP610-4, I would probably pick the Huracan just because I'm young and I like thrills, I like excitement. I don't like to speed on public roads. I like to take cars to the track to go fast, so there's no speed limit to worry about. You know, I like cars that are comfortable, don't get me wrong, but the S-Class is not marketed towards young people. It's marketed toward those who are middle-aged to old, mainly because they're the ones who have the money to comfortably afford this car. And I'm not talking about just the buying price. I'm talking all the maintenance, the insurance, the gas, everything that goes into the true cost of owning a car like this. Now, the Huracan is more expensive, but it is also more exciting, and there are a lot of young people who do own Huracans, mainly automotive YouTubers. And it is my goal to own a Huracan one day. It may be a while before that happens, but just thought I'd point that out for you guys that have been longtime subscribers, that my goal is to get a Huracan, and when I do, I will be inspecting it to make sure everything is in pristine condition, nothing's broken, nothing's damaged, and I'm getting a good deal. The Huracan itself is a very reliable car. 5.2 liter V10, naturally aspirated, no turbos you need to worry about. You can VF supercharge it and it'll still be bulletproof reliable with over 800 horsepower. You know, the Huracan's a fun car. And I've been fortunate enough to drive a Huracan Evo last year with extreme experience. And if you talk to the right people, they'll let you put it in sport mode, but for the most part, they run them in Strada mode, which I think, unless you're driving a Lamborghini Urus, it's a cardinal sin to drive an Aventador or Huracan in Strada mode. You should at least put it in sport. And that's mainly because of how the transmission behaves. Like, people do not like how the transmission behaves in Strada mode. Now, this may not be the case with the Huracan, but it is absolutely the case with the Aventador. I know that for a fact. Well, I don't have much else to talk about, and I know I went off topic a few times. That guy just ran the red there. But hey, what can I say? I like talking about cars, and I like learning things about every new car that comes out. So that's how I know so much about cars, just by studying them over the years and reading the manuals. That way I know how to take proper care of each car I get into. One last thing I'll mention before I end this video is that the car does come from the factory with run flat tires, and personally I think as much of a good idea as they are, they really aren't in another way. Like, the drawbacks outweigh the pros because you're sacrificing ride comfort for one. Two, if you get a puncture, you'll have to replace all 4 tires if you have a 4-wheel drive car. If you have a rear-wheel drive car, you'll just have to replace either the front 2 or the rear 2, depending on where you got the puncture, because a run flat tire is irreparable if you have a puncture. And lastly, run flats are more expensive than conventional go flat tires. So they're really convenient in one way. Like, if you have an emergency and you have to drive for 50 miles on a flat, then they're fine, but all other times they suck. All right, so that ends this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, turn on post notifications, do what you guys do best, and peace out until next time.